Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
I'm
Pepper.
Wow. We find that out. This is the first time I've sat in the middle, and now everyone is confused. Apparently.
I'm Mag.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we are doing our top 10 favorite cards in Red Rising as part of Stone Timber, which is something we're doing to celebrate 10 years of Stonemaier games. And we're doing a Stonemaier related video each day in September.
Mm-hmm.
So we are currently in the Red Rising part of it.
Yes.
You can check out our other videos that we posted long ago when we first
plug.
kind of got the game of Red Rising. If you want to see kind of a playthrough, our thoughts then, or see our other Stonemaier related videos. But yeah, let's just get right into it. This may be one of our almost favorite game, one of someone's here's almost favorite game of all time. If you check out our top 50 list, you'll have to find out who. Check out the top 10.
Plug.
Check out the top 10. Plug it in.
The giveaway's over, but you can get ready and subscribe for next year.
Yes. But yeah, who wants to start it off?
Well, I guess since both of you are looking at me, I will.
Well, you were the one that kind of went through the cards first and
Yeah,
took your 10,
that's
and then
true.
we may not have gotten all
That's
the cards.
true.
Yep.
We have our cards in our hands. Okay, so my number 10 is a white card.
Ooh.
I feel like the whites don't get a lot of love, so had to do that. And it is the Justice card. And so he allows you to reveal it when someone tries to take either the Sovereign token from you. If you do, you banish the card and keep the token, and then you banish the card, keep the token, and gain the top card of the deck. Sorry, there's a lot. It's a big paragraph for these cards. So I like that it keeps. You get to keep the Sovereign token, and then if nothing else, you get a new card from the top of the deck. So just kind of one that kind of gives you a benefit, and then also if you do have to spend it, you get a new card, and that might be depending on when you decide to use it in the game, it might be time for you to get a new card, or maybe you need some, more things that you could lay down, pick up kind of situation. Yeah. If you still have him at the end of the game, you gain one card of your choice from Luna. So I also think that's really cool, because at the end you get a bonus card if there is one on Luna, so you kind of maybe want to set yourself up for that. But I just think that's also great because, hey, you either get to keep the Sovereign token or you get an extra card. So
Yeah, I think you're right. Those are pretty underrated, because I don't know if I knew about that card. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like the white ones. So
Yeah, I like the look of that too.
He's just the best one.
Makes me think of like Odin or something.
Yeah.
And he's got a base of 15 points too, so that doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
No.
But then we'll get into my number 10, and I have the Ash Lord, which is a gold. So I get to banish all blues from this location. If you banish 2 or more blues, regain the Ash Lord. And then he's 5 points for each blue and 5 for each banished blue. So I just feel like this is one of those cards. When I was kind of going through them, I was like, I don't know that I've ever done this or really tried to score them or whatever, but it'd be pretty interesting if you got a lot of blues out in the game.
I did. Were
I think,
you in that game?
Yeah, I think now that you say that, that was right after I made this list, and then that happened, and I'm like, we've never played a game so far where that's happened, and now, of course, I put it on my list, and it happens.
Yeah,
so then
I
that
got the
made me
Ash
feel
Lord.
like, yes, I made a good choice.
And almost all the blue cards came out, and I was banishing them. I was getting rid of them. I was like, yeah! It was amazing. I almost put him on my list for that reason, but I was like, it's one time the blues have to be coming out. But yeah, he was really cool. I really loved it.
And I really like the look of the card. I think it's a pretty solid looking card.
I feel like he's
in my
different
opinion.
looking than the rest
It does
of the
look
cards.
different. And I am interested because, well, out of us so far and me, I read the initial Red Rising book, have started the second, haven't gotten back to it in a little bit, but I don't remember an Ash Lord, so I'll be interested to see when that actually comes up. See kind of how that actually works.
Yeah. Wow, he's just going to have 10 gold cards.
What are you doing
here?
I was laying them out.
Oh, okay.
Just in case somebody needed to grab them.
Yes, that's true, but they might just have to grab them out of our hand earlier.
Oh.
That's true.
But I suppose they are available now. Pick the Ash Lord.
My number 10 is a pink card. and it is Matteo.
Oh.
So Matteo is move any other card from this location to the top of another location. If it's a pink, place 1 influence token on the Institute, which, I mean, I don't care about the Institute thing that much, but, you know, sometimes you place out a card, and you're like, okay, I think that'll get back to me, and then gets back around to you, and people have placed like 2 or 3 cards on that location, and you just don't have access to them. But this kind of lets you dig down into that location and move it to a location of your choice, so you can get the card you want and the bonus that you want as well.
And you just hope it's a pink on top of it.
Yeah,
You know, that's just an extra bonus.
Yep. And it's 13 base points, 17 bonus if with a pink or Quicksilver, which, I mean, is pretty possible. There's a decent amount of pinks in the game, so it could possibly be 30 points as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if I said the Ash Lord's base is 25 points as well, so that's pretty solid just having them, even if you don't get any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
But, good choice.
All right, well, on to number 9 here. My number 9 is a gold card. So there are probably 2 colors that I think you're going to see in my hand a lot, and this might be one of them.
I think gold, though, there's like three times more gold than every other card
and they're
super
color, powerful in general. So this is actually a card from, like, I think one of my first playthroughs of the game, and I just remember liking it a lot, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like a nostalgia thing for me, and that is the Bone Riders, and they just look so cool, like, kind of scary.
It's another
like,
cool looking card.
Yeah. So when you lay it down, you get the Sovereign token, so not like anything super crazy, but the base is 15 points, and then you also get 15 points at the end if it's with the Jackal or Gray. So nothing like extremely powerful or different about this card. It does, you know, just have a, you know, its own thing, but I just like the look of it, and it's from one of my first playthroughs, and so I was like, yeah. Anytime I get the Bone Riders in my hand, I'm just like, yay, Bone Riders. And I usually take them to the end with me. So
yeah, I do like the look of that card, but yeah, I don't have that nostalgia you do, and then kind of the points. I don't know that. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't, not like it does anything amazingly special, but it is. I think it's one of my favorite looking cards. So yeah. Whenever I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, Bone Riders.
Yeah,
it's one of the recognizable
really
ones.
Memorable, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
a memorable card.
Yes. Yeah, so that'll go into my number 9, and it is not a gold, and it's not a color that's been mentioned yet. It is a green card.
Ooh.
And it is the Code Breaker, who has a base of 8 points. And the Code Breaker gets to reveal the bottom card of the deck. If it's a gold or silver, leave it there, otherwise gain it. And then banish Code Breaker unless you deployed it on top of a gold or silver. And then it's also worth another 25 points if the first letter of the names of your cards are all different. And I think that's the part that I like. I think there's quite a number of cards that kind of have like these special, like, all or nothing type bonus scores.
Like odd numbers, even numbers type of thing.
Doing those types of things. And I think, now I'm trying to remember if I picked another one of those, but I think this was the kind of the one I ended up going with. I don't know that I've ever... I feel like I must have done it at least once or tried it.
I tried, but I got 2, I think, that were the same named or first letter.
Yeah, but I just find it really really cool, and then also it's just a way to kind of get a like you said, another random card, kind of pull it from the bottom of the deck. So if you're looking for something that's not out there, it's just a way to do that as well. Especially, I like the fact that, kind of, especially later on in the game, you kind of know if you're meeting that requirement or not. And then you're kind of like, well, I have 2 A's and I want to keep both of them, so I should probably get rid of this guy. And
I feel like he's got a good piece to get rid of too, like, you know, like if you have to get rid of him, it's a good one.
My number 9, I also have this card, so not a crossover. It is a gold. It is Cassius. So a base 25 points, which is always nice. His effect is gain the card directly under this one, banish Cassius, unless that card is a gold. Which maybe you would want him banished because you don't want anyone else to get that benefit. Just kind of anything that you can gain more cards. Plus, if you do keep him, he can get you a bonus 40 points if he's with both Mustang and Darrow. But Also, you risk getting negative 20 points if he's with Darrow, but not Mustang. So potential to gain cards and possibly 65 points.
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It might be
almost
the
had him on my
largest one
list,
in there of points that are just like kind of meeting one condition. It might be one of the highest ones.
Yeah.
That can do that.
I almost put on my list, but the negative 20 if with Darrow, but not Mustang. You know, you can use the orange cards to whatever. But I guess I just haven't played with him enough to see. But,
Yeah.
All right, well, on to number 8.
choice.
Good choice, Pepper. All right, I'm going again with a gold. And I just think this one looks super powerful, and I love her card action. So I've got Victra. And so she is a gold, and when you lay her, you gain the bottom card of the location if it's not Victra. And then you banish Victra unless you deployed her on a gold. So this one will give you an extra card into your hand. I feel like she's hard for me to put down though, like, because I don't want anybody else to take her. So I like that you can banish her at the end, because like you said, you might not want others getting Victra. And then she's worth a core point of 20, but you get 10 points if she's with the Howlers, and then another 10 points if she's with Severo or Darrow. So, potentially 40 points on Victra. So.
Nice.
No crossover yet.
Yeah, it's surprising. But yeah, I think that's the thing with a lot of those golds that allow you to like gain cards, is it's kind of it's always one of those like, do I want to play it though? Especially if they don't get banished.
Yeah.
Because that's like, well, then the next person's just going to take it. So.
And you typically don't see golds come out again.
Right. But yeah, then I got my number 8, and it's another color that has not been mentioned yet. It is a silver, and it is the Investor, who has a base of 15 points.
Oh.
And their action is to choose a color other than silver, gain 1 helium for each card of that color on this location. So I just like any of them that kind of interact with the cards that are on the board as well, and kind of get more powerful or less powerful depending on what it is. And also at the end of the game, you can choose a color other than silver and gain 1 helium for each card of that color on Mars. So if you could kind of set that up as well, if you could kind of try to move them all onto Mars, like maybe a color that no one's going for, it can be a good way to score some points at the end of the game as well. And I think a lot of the silvers, their interactions are with helium.
Yeah.
So that's typically what you'll see.
I really like the silvers. They're super fun to play, I feel like.
Yes. Yeah.
And they can be. I think they can have some really powerful things that they do relating to helium.
Yes.
Especially if you're playing Mars.
Yes. So yeah, the Investor.
Nice.
Well, it wouldn't be a top 10 list if I didn't cheat here.
Oh,
You didn't have a crossover?
Pepper.
Not a
No,
crossover, but I have 2 cards here, and these are my helium girls, as I call them, and that is Deanna and the Stockbroker.
Well, they're not even the same color.
They are not. So we got a silver and a red here. Deanna is 9 points. When you place her down, you gain a helium. So that's great to just do that on the place down action instead of picking up. And she's also a bonus 26 points if with another red, which is a good chunk of points. And the Stockbroker is 10 base points. And when you place her, you may lose 1 influence on the Institute. If you do, gain 2 helium. And at the end of the game, they're also worth a bonus 5 points for each helium you have for a max of 25 points.
Yeah.
So,
I like her end game scoring better
Yes.
than her laydown ability, but
yeah,
I really
because you are sacrificing
Yeah.
at the Institute.
But I like her
that's
as
a lot
well
of points.
too.
But yeah, I'd
I
probably
said.
prefer the Stockbroker there, but
Yeah.
both of those I
Helium
do
girls.
enjoy.
That's fair.
Nice. All right, we're down to 7 here, and I have a color that no one said yet, so that's exciting.
Purple.
Purple.
And so this
Orange.
this one is
Brown.
I love these cards.
Copper.
They're so different than the other
Obsidian.
sets, and they just do some really cool things, and they're high point values. I feel like a lot of these cards are. So I haven't read Red Rising yet at this point. It is on my TBR. So I'm going to jump into these books here very, very soon. But it is Japo.
Ooh.
And first of all, just looks so cool. Their skull, their like fur.
Whenever I look at them, I think it's a Lego, a black version of a Lego character.
Yes, I could see how they look Lego.
But yes, they do have a very unique look.
And Japo, I feel like, could be interchanged with Elfrun, the other obsidian, but I just like the look of Japo better. So when you lay him...
And he's got a better name.
Yeah, I feel he's way more fun. So when you lay him, you may gain Elfrun or Nero, and Nero is a gold from this location. If you do, regain Japo and end your turn. So you get a card, you get Japo back, and so I think Elfrun and Nero work together and back and forth. So I just love it's like a reciprocal card. So he's worth 10 base points, and then a 10 if you have him with Elfrun, and then 10 if you have him with Nero. So potentially 30 points on Japo.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that one could have made my list, but I feel like I've never actually seen that happen.
Oh, I've done it once.
You have not done it. I've never seen it.
I've seen it.
I have never seen it because I'm like, I'll keep it the whole game, and not one of them will come out.
Yeah.
Or else one will, and it'll be a 3 or 4 player game, and it'll get taken before it gets to me. And I'm like, wow, waited my whole game. But no, that is
salty.
I am salty. That is a good pick, but I feel like I've been burned by him too many times.
Aww.
But that one is a very cool thing that I have wanted to work every time I've done it. So that's the only thing that hurts it for me.
It's coming for you, Japo.
I'm coming for you. But yes, so then my number 7. And actually, I had accidentally let this card slip through to Pepper, so it is one that is a crossover, our first crossover, and it is a gold, and it's Cassius.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So,
At least now I have the correct amount of cards
Right.
here.
Yes. But yes, so Cassius, like he had said, is 25 base, has a chance of a 40 if you can get both Mustang and Darrow. And yeah, it's just, he's a very handsome looking fellow.
Reminds you of you in your youth.
Yes, that's what I used to look like. I would be the gold. Gaining the card directly under this one, banishing Cassius unless the card is a gold. Yeah, it's a good ability, and yeah, the points, it's just a massive amount of points, just like you said. It's one of my favorite gold cards, I believe, just because of that, having the most possibility of the easiest points, I should say. Yeah. There is one that I may have scored more with.
Oh, we know. All right, Jesse.
My next one is a color that hasn't been mentioned.
Ooh,
Purple!
Although it has been mentioned,
Copper.
but it has not been played.
brown, gray.
It is an orange, and it is
Orange.
the Artificer.
I didn't think an orange
That
would
one
get
looks
picked.
so crazy.
It does. I'm not even sure what's going on here.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's a 10 base points, and when you play them, you may gain a gold or any other orange from this location if you do end your turn. So it's kind of another one that can get you control and dig deeper into the piles at the locations to get a card you want. And at the end of the game, you may treat this card as having the same name as any specific character. So if you're getting golds, a lot of golds really need specific names, and if you can get some oranges with them, that can get you a ton of points. And also plus 20 points if with both another orange and a gold. Which I think is probably what you're going to be going for.
If you can get 2 oranges and Cassius, that's a huge amount of points.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a good pick.
Good job, Jesse.
I didn't think an orange would get picked, so
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
I think
The
so.
end game ability is just too good.
It'll be interesting. What we got left? We haven't had a purple, we haven't had a brown or a copper. Are those the only colors?
Blue
Oh, or blue. Ooh.
or a yellow.
Oh, yeah, yellow. I always forget because you got the brown and the copper, which look kind of similar, and then the yellow and the gold. But yeah, the golds have the shine on them.
The shine.
I would have
We got
actually
the
preferred
foil.
shine on every one of the cards,
Me too.
personally, but
Yeah, I agree.
we can get back to you now.
All
Sorry.
right, no, you're good. Okay, so we're on number 6. So this card I think is really cool. It's lower in my hand just because I haven't gotten to play it very much. But it's hard to deny how powerful this card is, and that is Darrow the Red Darrow. So he's just boss looking on the card. First of all, like. This is a player. When you when you lay Darrow, you gain any other non-gold from this location, and then you banish Darrow unless you deployed him on a gold. So kind of similar to some of the other golds, so he's kind of a more powerful but color card, and so gets you an extra card. You can banish him, and then he's worth 10 core points. But if you get him with 7 or more cards, you get 30 points. So kind of one you probably wouldn't actually want to let out of your hand, because I doubt you're going to get Darrow back. But
Yeah. Although other players would want to use him as well.
that's true. So you just gotta get him back somehow.
Yeah, and I agree. Crossover right on the number, because I thought I was going to have to wait for someone to mention it. But yes, Darrow is my number 6 as well, for a lot of all the same reasons. Very powerful card, for sure. And then, yeah, the bonus, usually, if you can get those cards via him or some other way, it's a very solid amount of bonus points. And yeah, I really like the look of them on the card as well. And it's really cool if you could somehow to get a combination of like almost all red cards in your hands, because I think they all kind of score well together as well. I think Kristen, when we played it once, might have had something like that, a good combination of red cards.
Yeah, I think she had Darrow and Deanna.
Yeah, so I think that was a very solid amount of points for her. And yeah, it's a good pick, Maggie.
I thought so.
Give me Darrow, because this is a crossover, and I have to grab the card underneath him. It's Jofo, however you say it.
Oh, I suppose Jofo probably is more correct. PHO.
I don't know. It's hard to say a lot of these names. But yeah, like you said, you gain his partner, who will gain points for him and the partner. They both combo off of each other perfectly.
Yes.
And you don't even have to risk him.
You just get him right back.
So it's unlike something like Darrow.
Have you had it happen?
I have not had it happen. That's why it can't be higher. But if it had happened, it would be very high. But yeah, it's just one of the safer ways to gain cards. Yeah. Just a great looking too. I love all of the kind of skull looking characters.
I do like that you picked the same one when they're like two that look exactly the same.
Well, and it's so
For
good.
Elrond.
I feel like all the cards are like kind of like this brighter color, and then you have the obsidians, which are like just like
Dark.
solid blood. Like it's so
Evil.
cool. I love it.
But no.
That's
It's obviously a
pick.
good pick. Like I said, it probably would have. One of them would have made my list if I had ever had it actually happen. But I think I've been burned at least 3 times.
What I'm hearing is we need to play more Red Rising.
Wow. I'm never gonna get it.
All right, well, on to number 5 here. And my number 5 is we're going back to a color I've already named. And that is Severo. He's a gold. These cool, like, little
Another cool looking
wolf
card.
character looking. Like, it looks like they're in some kind of wolf costume.
One of the howlers.
He may banish the card directly under this one. You may reveal the howlers instead to gain that card. So, just kind of a cool piece here where you can either banish it, but if you have it with the howlers, then you can reveal them to gain the card. So again, would get you a card at the end. So he's 15 core points, but at the end he's worth another 20 if with Victra, the howlers, or red. So Victra is in my top 10 if you guys noticed, and I also have a red in my top 10, which is Darrow. So I feel like
She's building her hand right.
Severo would be. I feel like the top 10 should almost be like your. Well, it's not actually probably
Maybe don't combo.
a good group combo hand, but I just really like the look of this card, and I just think that these are fun. It's kind of weird to me because the way I think about it is like there's some golds that I've played a lot with, like Severo, Victra, the Bone Riders, that just keep coming up for me, and I just love them. So it's interesting to see like the difference in the golds with us.
Yeah, I got both of those like right away last game, but it was like a 4-player game, so I was not going to risk.
Tight.
Yeah, that's the
Because
only.
once you show them that you have the howlers,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Right. That's the tough part about that one, that you don't get it back, but I suppose then you could just always do that.
Yeah.
So I see why it is the way it is, but yeah, it kind of sucks that you can't get it back, show and get it back. So, don't know. I really like the look of that card as well.
I'm gonna need someone to play a card here, quick.
Uh-oh.
And then I am going to get into a color that I have not picked yet, but and it hasn't actually. No, it hasn't been picked by anyone. It is
Wow.
Colonel Valentine.
Way. A gray?
A gray.
A gray.
Wow.
For some reason I was thinking it was obsidian, but yes, it is a gray. So we got our first gray.
Did you pick him just because of the name?
It might be partially because of that. But yeah, he's worth 10 base points, and then you may move a gold from any location to directly under this card. You may gain that card if you do. end your turn. I do like that because, like you said, there are many cool and good golds. So it is a way that if you had something kind of stuck underneath a lot of stuff, you'd be able to kind of dig it out.
Pull 'em out.
Kind of like the one card you had brought up. And then at the end of the game, you may treat this card as if it is any other color in addition to gray, which I always like that and the orange ones that allow you to change or use any name. I really like that. And then for each gold on all locations, considering there's 3 times more golds than other colors, this one I think is just a solid one, especially if no one were taking those golds. Getting all those bonus
But he lets you
points would be
pick them
good.
up, so...
He lets you pick them up, though, too, so...
Yeah.
Just kind of depends on what you need to do at that time, but yeah, if your goal is not to get golds, that makes for some solid points. Usually I think there's going to be some golds out there at the end of the game.
Yeah.
At least 1 or 2 at a minimum.
I think so.
Yeah. So I do not have the card in my hand.
So you'll just have to wait.
I'm going to swap my number 4 and number 5.
You can say it.
Well,
I'll swap my number 4 and 5.
Well, that or you can just say when one of us brings it up, if you want.
I can swap it because my new number 5 is Colonel Valentine.
Oh boy!
And
Crossover.
Wow.
you said this was Cassius was like Zach, and I think Colonel Valentine is me.
With the mohawk.
I did have that kind of mohawk.
He's a very
ways
striking
back.
card.
Yeah, for all the reasons you said. Just kind of that can be any color in addition to gray. So if you score multiples for different types of colors, it scores for both. And golds, there's a ton of gold, so it can score for those. And of course, Valentine, spelt the same way as our last name.
Yes.
Hard to beat that.
Gotta mention it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a solid pick by Pepper and myself.
Okay, good job, boys.
Except I didn't mention that one.
All right, my number 4, I have a feeling is Jesse's. Is the one Jesse's waiting on, but we'll see.
I think we're both waiting on it.
Oh boy. So it's another gold, and it actually works with Severo and Darrow and Victra and some of these cards that I've said it already. And that is the Howler.
Oh boy.
So this is a very...
It wasn't top 10 gold cards, Mac.
Yeah,
Come on,
I know,
Mac.
right? I said that you'd be seeing that. It's hard to beat somehow how powerful some of these are. So, in my opinion, but
No, they have a lot of fun abilities.
the Howlers I put just a little bit above Severo because there
Because
were
he's part of them.
yes. When an opponent tries to steal or banish your cards, reveal this to block them. So kind of not one that you lay, but you like just block them and you put it right back in your hand. So they might know that you have the Howlers, but I think the combo of the Howlers and Severo is just fine. So I really like that. And so I think these are just great to combo with. He's worth 20 points, 35 if you get Severo. So I always feel like it's really cool when you get the set, or I mean you could get an orange too if you don't have Severo, but I just really like that it's steal or banish, and so that's really helpful, I feel like, sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I always like the look of those cards when I see them, when they come into my hand. But I think it's been a few games since I've actually held either one of them in my hand. But I know early on I think I got those a couple times.
And I think too a lot of the game is offense, right? What am I doing? Like what am I? But he's a defense card, I feel like, and so I think like that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, with my number 4, I am going to be joining you in the golds.
Oh.
And I am picking Roke. I think Rock. I don't know how to pronounce it. But
Rocky.
Yes, a gold card with a base of 20 points, and then the ability is to look at an opponent's hand, name a card, then randomly select a card from their hand.
And this is why I have the Howlers.
If you select the named card, banish it, and banish Roke. And then 5 points for each blue. So it's another one of those cards that works with blue, I suppose. But yeah, it actually had tried this card a few times. And I finally got it to work in the game, but I actually allowed you to pick which card, because I don't love take that, so I was like, okay, I'll let you pick whichever card you want, so that it doesn't hurt you as much. And you picked it, and then I drew it, and I'm like, well, you decided your own fate.
And which card was it?
Was it that one?
It was Joppo.
Oh boy, sorry, Joppo. I shouldn't have done that to you, but
And
no.
I think Elf Runner Nero came out, and I was like...
I like the look of that one, and it's a good base amount of points, and I think it's just
It's
a
fun to
fun
be
little
mean.
thing. I don't think it's that fun to be mean, but it's fun to just try it and see.
Yeah.
It's one of those gamble type moves.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay.
didn't reveal it.
It was not revealed.
Wow.
What if it is the top one of someone's though? You can just wait.
Yeah. So how do we handle that?
Once it's announced, you can just say and then say your
Okay.
input
So
if
I
you
would
want.
skip now, or I just wait?
Yeah, you can just skip for now.
Yeah. Okay. I'll skip to my number 3.
Sure.
Which was said, and it is a red. It's the only other red that I hadn't said. And that is Darrow, the main character.
3-way crossover.
Was it 3-way crossover?
Yep.
Me,
Oh.
Zach, and...
Nice. Our first 3-way crossover. It's fitting.
Have you said Darrow?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
It the
crossover
same.
on the number
Yeah, that's
with
right.
you.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
right.
sorry, I forgot.
But yeah, just being able to get more cards, obviously, and then to score for having more cards. It's just really good, and really awesome artwork as well on there for his character. Yeah.
I'd agree. It's a solid pick.
Combos with a lot of others, too.
All right, so now we're on number 3, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That was Pepper's 3. What's yours?
Okay, so I love the color.
We don't have any brown or coppers
pink.
yet.
I love the color pink.
I can tell by all this gold that you've picked.
And my number 3 is a pink card, the Conversationalist. And first of all, the look of this card, I love it. Her pretty pink hair, the pink card, like so cool.
What about Matteo? Look at his purple hair.
I like pinks. I just happen to like this one better.
I had a hard time choosing.
So,
She wants to combo it with her white card.
exactly. So move the top card from another location to under this card. If it's a white, gain it. So this one not only lets you move a card, so like you could, and it says to another location. So you get to choose which one that you get to take the bonus from, because the idea is that you're picking up the card. Like, you lay this one to pick up the card that you want, so you get to also choose what benefit you get, and then if it's a white card, you get it, and then you get to also pick another card. So I feel like this one just has great benefits.
I remember the last game we played, I had that card in my hand from like the very beginning, and I was waiting and waiting for a white card to come
Yeah.
out, and it didn't come out until I had given up.
And then I
And
think
that
I got
card
her. And I used her. And I've had really good experiences with this card, personally. But I feel like because I have a white in here, I might recognize the white strengths. And I'm a little scared to say that out loud in front of you, because now you guys are going to want my whites. But she's worth 15 base, and then she's worth another 15 if with a white. So 30 points, not crazy, but she does, I feel like, give you some really cool benefits. So.
Then we get to my number 3. Ooh, and it is the first of this color.
Copper.
It is a capper.
Ooh.
Dang it.
It is the Auctioneer, which has a base of 12 points, and their ability is to choose an opponent. That opponent chooses one. Gain a helium, advance on the fleet track, or place 1 influence on the institute. You gain both other options, which is, I think, just really awesome. And then at the end of the game, you gain a helium, advance once on the fleet track, or place an influence on the institute, which I think can also be really cool, just depending on what you maybe need. The helium would only be worth 3 points, but possibly those other ones could be a game-changing amount if you could, especially put one on the institute and get to having the most. So then you go from maybe 2 points apiece to 4 points apiece. Could be pretty cool. But yeah, but the ability, I think, is the part that I really like, because not only are you getting a benefit, but someone else is as well.
Yeah.
So I really like that, as opposed to sometimes you get a benefit at someone else's demise. I really like how this one gives multiple people something good.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, we have a crossover on the copper, at least. This is the Politician, which
Oh.
is 15 base points, and when you play it, you may reveal 2 golds from your hand. If you do, place 2 influence. on the Institute, which can just be really satisfying to take control over that Institute and really shoot up there. And bonus 15 points at the end if you have the most influence on the Institute, or tied for most. So I just love anything that can get you double of those base core bonuses. Yeah, and decent artwork, I think, as well. That's probably my favorite copper.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Is anyone going to pick a brown or blue?
Or purple.
Getting down there.
Or
purple.
yellow.
Wow. I didn't think... Interesting. I would have thought for sure the purple or blue would get talked about.
Yeah, we know you got number one purple. We know it.
We're down to number 2 now, so I'm going to double down on a color here, and I'm going with another pink.
Oh, boy.
I love them.
Matteo.
So, this is Calliope. So once again, I love this card. I actually felt like I played with a conversationalist more, and I did have them in front, but then we played a game where I saw the power of this card, and I was like, that is so cool. I really like that. So Calliope allows you to reveal the top card of the deck. You then deploy it face up on another location. So you get to use whatever that deploy action is in that case. And then, so it's kind of like a cool, and then if you draw it, you get to choose which one you put it on. If it's one you want, you then also get to take, if you take it, you get to decide what benefit you get, by placing it on one. So I saw this one a lot in a recent game, and I was like, that's really cool that you get to take it from the top, get that card's benefit, and then
never got to use her.
So yeah,
Pinks were very mean to me last game.
so she's 15 points as a base, and then another 20 if with the jackal.
Ooh.
So
Yeah, those were the 3 pinks that I was between for mine. I knew I wanted one, and I went with Matteo.
Nice. Well, at least we got some variety.
Yes.
But yeah, my top 2, I think, could be interchangeable.
These are honorable mentions, so I think we might have the same top 2.
oh boy.
Oh, boy. But yes. Well, I guess, did you mention your other one yet either?
No.
Oh, boy.
Well, I guess, yeah, my top 2 wouldn't be the same. My 5 and 1 would be the same as your
boy.
1 and 2.
Oh, boy. Well, anyway, I've got another green, which is the online gambler, who has only a base of 7 points, which isn't amazing, but during the game, you can name 3 colors, then reveal the top card of the deck. If it matches a color you named, gain it and banish this card. Otherwise, banish the revealed card. But the thing that I really like about this one is the end of game thing, which is name 1 non-gold color, reveal 7 cards from the top of the deck, and gain all cards of that color, shuffle, and return the other cards to the top of the deck. And that's just... I know, it's since I think there's only like 7 of each color or something, 7, 8, whatever it is. It's not likely with all the cards in the deck that you're going to get many.
You could just say red, get all 7 reds.
Right.
About 200-300 points there.
Right, but I think, yeah, I'm trying to remember, the last game I played, or had this one, I think I was able to got either 1 red or 2 reds, possibly. Because I had a couple reds in my hand, and I was trying to get more of them. So I just really like that, right at the end of the game, you could possibly add some additional cards to your hand, especially if maybe you're behind. It's kind of one of those all or nothing type plays that I really like in the game for cards like that. But at the same time, you have to know that you probably don't want to combo this with something that has like some of those weird requirements, like all odds, all evens, or different names, because then you probably will run into issues. But otherwise, I really
now I for
like that
sure
one.
know what your number 1 is.
What?
I forgot about it.
Has anyone named them yet? Do we have to do ours first? What do you have left?
I have my 5 and 1.
And we haven't named them.
My 5 has not been named. My number 1 is the online gambler.
No, it's not.
Yep.
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
Online gambler, number
No
1.
Wow.
way.
Name 3 colors, reveal the top card of the deck. You can gain a card. That's awesome. We've established that. End of the game, you can gain 7 cards.
There is a chance.
Wow.
A very minimal chance. That's just so cool.
That's just the best end game effect in the entire game. Most exciting.
Yeah. It usually either doesn't hit or it's usually like 1 card. But
Yeah. I played it with,
just waiting for that time.
I played it solo, and I failed completely. So I drew another 7 with the same color, and I got 1. So it hasn't ever worked out that nicely, but I don't care. I want to keep trying it. But yeah, a green, number 1. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is crazy.
Like I said, it was interchangeable, my 1 and 2, so pretty close to being my number 1 as well.
Wow.
Let's see your number 1, Maggie.
Not on the same vibe.
I think
My
I
number
have his
1
number 5.
is a color that
Definitely
has not
didn't see your
been
number
mentioned yet.
Oh boy.
And I feel like this card is probably interchangeable for, I think, 1 or 2 other
I
cards
know
in
your
the same
color.
color. But this specific
Yes.
card is the one that I've had the best experience with. And that is the Reporter. And I guess technically these are violet cards, just so you
Ooh,
know,
not
not
purple.
So this is the Reporter, and I love these. I think you can also get, there's one for the fleet track, and there's
Yeah.
also one for the influence track. But if you have the Reporter, if you have more helium than the player to your right, give them the Reporter, gain the top 2 cards of the deck, and end your turn. So just really solid, because I feel like whichever one you get, it kind of pushes you to move it up, and then you're kind of looking at, if I give it to him or her, are they going to be able to use it? Like, what's the benefit that I can get from it? And so,
It's like, hey, you have to have the most helium.
yep.
So if you have the most when you do that,
Yeah.
they don't.
Exactly.
Right.
And then it might drive them up,
That's an
though,
awesome
to do
card.
it.
Those are
and
awesome cards.
Yeah. I just think, and I know some of the other cards I mentioned, potentially you could get 2 out of 2, but I just love that it's 2 cards from the deck. They don't know what you've gotten. And then you do have to pass the card, which I think is an interesting twist to it. So it is only worth 6 points base. But it's worth another 29 if you have the most helium or tied for the most at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So a good scorecard too, even if it ends up back in your hand. So
Yeah. I really like those violet ones. I think I just was hoping other people would mention at least one of them, because I didn't know which one I wanted to pick out of them, because like you said, I think there's one for each kind of type of thing you can do. But yeah, I really like the ones that can gain you cards, and especially if there's just nothing good for you out on the board,
Yeah.
it's a great way to just get introduce 2 brand new cards into the game.
And I remember when I first, I picked up this card, I think, in a game, and I was like, no way. I was like, really? And I was like, this is awesome. So I think the first time I played this was when I scored my high of 449 points. So I think I used them twice
Yeah.
Nice.
for her.
It's a solid card, but everyone knows what my number 1
My
is.
number 5 and your number 1.
Everyone knows what it is. By far, my favorite card, probably because of, just,
Mustang.
yes, just a
I don't know if I even
beautiful
like
card.
this one that much.
I really like the look of the card's really nice,
Yeah,
and then
she's beautiful.
already a base of 20 points, which is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And it also allows you to gain a banished card. If the card is not a gold, you banish Mustang.
Yeah.
So that's
A
the way to
lot.
get cards.
But you
The
don't lay
banished
down.
cards, a lot of them are golds
Right.
that banish when you gain cards.
Yeah.
Right.
You do not banish Mustang, though, if you want to pick her back up. If you're
Right.
going for her end game, don't banish Mustang.
Right, but yeah, the thing, like you said, the end game is where I think, just memory of the one game that I went for each. So for each different color in your hand is 5 points. So I had Mustang, and I think I had all but one color, maybe. So that was a lot of bonus points just for Mustang alone. And I think I actually had there's a purple that's kind of similar, but you have to have all different cards.
Yes.
It's all or nothing type
Yep.
thing. And I had both of them in my hand, and I think right at the end, I don't know if I tried to get greedy or something happened that I accidentally ended up getting 2 of a certain color. So messed that part up, but almost had like a perfect feeling game of that. Even though I don't know that it was like an all-time high score, but just I think Mustang had to have scored like 70 points for me or something like that. And then just ever since then, I've just really liked
That's
the card.
upsetting to me. The stockbroker gets 5 for helium, but it's a max of 25. But all these others that get 5 for something, there is no max. So
Right.
I think
Because she's gold.
they need to change
She's
that.
elite.
That's
Right.
true.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe it seems like colors sometimes kind of work together sometimes. So
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe that's when you do mix so many
Yeah.
colors together, it just doesn't have like the synergies
Yeah.
of those cards. Maybe.
I feel like it can definitely make it difficult
Although if you
because you,
do
have
get-
cards in the deck that say but not with a certain color.
yeah.
So you have to.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, if you get an orange in there as well as a gray, that can really help with some of those synergies that you might be lacking. Well, I don't get to talk here, so I'll talk about my honorable mention, which is
Oh, you had
actually-
honorable mentions.
Well,
Put that one
Did
out
you
there
get your
too.
number
there's this
two?
one.
Did you get all your numbers now?
I got all my numbers
Okay.
now. Well, here, you can talk about
His
this
number one was
since
the
it's your
online
favorite
game.
card.
Oh, Lysander! I got a signed copy in the random $1 draw, and I was like, yes, a Red Rising card. So it's
And a
mine.
pretty
I
dang
claimed
good
it.
one, too.
It's,
Yes.
And Lysander almost made my top 10, so it's really funny because he lets you gain the top card of the deck, and then you banish Lysander unless you deployed him on Luna. So it gets you an extra card, like the others. You banish him so that nobody else can use him, and so just really cool because you're getting an extra card. He is kind of probably one of the lower scoring golds though, because he's 10 points and then he's 20 if you have the Sovereign Token, Octavia, or Cassius.
But at least
so,
it's an or, so you
thank
got three
God
options.
it's an or, and I'm guessing that's why he's only worth 30.
Yeah.
So he's a little young and gold, but I really like him. So yay!
Yeah, just imagine if we had all of these signed. Mustang, the reporter, and an
Yeah.
online
You
game.
have a lot of purchases to make.
I've got a lot of purchases if I'm going to get all those.
Can I request
There are a
all
lot
of
of cards.
Only Red Rising signed cards, please.
But yeah, the best artwork on a card is, what is it? The Telemanuses. The family portrait. I just love it. Just a happy family, and it's actually characters from the other cards as
Yeah.
well, so it's fun to see those if you have multiple in your hand. They
And then
got the pet dog, the fox, up in
Right.
the corner there. It just makes me chuckle every time I see it. The effect I'm not too in love with,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I just love that art, that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid looking one. It's a memorable one when you see it. But yeah, so I think, what did we not have mentioned? Brown?
We have
Brown,
no
yellow.
brown, no
No
yellow,
yellow.
no blue.
Blue
No
surprises
blue,
me,
yeah.
I think, the
I
most.
know. I was going to, but then I was like, oh, someone else will put it in because I feel like there's some of them that score really well.
Yeah,
But
I think-
they're specifically for
I think a lot of
the
the
fleet
blues,
track.
the blues probably combo together kind of well, kind of like the reds do. So I think it's kind of maybe tough to pick like which
One,
blue
yeah.
because they all kind of are similar. So maybe that was it, where one didn't necessarily stand
And as
out.
you can see, there are a ton more cards
Yes.
that we did not get to choose.
But yeah, I don't know if there. I think there are some browns that could be
Yeah.
good, but they're kind of similar where they're looking for certain colors in your hand. So
Yeah.
if you can get the right one and you have a hand of a lot of the same color, that could be good.
I feel like brown could be essential because like they move cards around for you, you
Yeah.
know, and they allow you to
Yep.
do certain things, but they have to be geared towards the color or card that you're working towards or whatever, or looking to get. So I think they are essential. It's just none of them do anything. I think that's like super, like wow.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of surprised you had an orange one, because that's kind of
Yeah.
how I felt about orange as well.
Well, I
Where
was surprised you guys
they're-
put a gray one in there.
I think that one at least had some good scoring where it's 5 for each
Yeah.
each gold on
Yeah.
all locations. I think that's what pushed it up. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know that many grays would have made it either outside of that. But yeah, and then what do the yellows do kind of again? Banished.
They let you
Work with
bring
banished
back
cards and stuff.
banished cards. So
So yeah, that's an interesting thing too. But I can't remember if any of them really have. I think a lot of mine have like a cool. Most of them have a cool scoring type thing on them, and that's what really draws me to cards. Whereas I don't know that many of those seem quite as cool. They can
Yeah.
still score well, some of them, but
Right.
it just doesn't feel as fascinating. Kind of like
Yeah.
the online gambler, where it's probably actually worse than a lot of their scoring. It's going to end up being worse,
Yep.
but it's just something that's fun.
but you
Yeah.
have fun with it, yeah.
But yeah, those are our top 10 favorite cards from Red Rising,
Yeah.
along with an honorable mention from Pepper.
I feel like
Well-
there's a lot of honorable mentions, but
Yeah,
I'd be here
that's true.
probably naming
We'll
the rest of the deck.
kind of
so.
add up what those scores would actually be for each of our 10 and
There
figure
we
out
go.
what that would be.
We'll see. We'll put them at the end. Who has what the scores would
best
be if you
hand.
had those. Even eliminating those 10 points for each one over 7.
Yes.
But no, we've got some definitely other content for Stone Timber, so check that out. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next video. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
honor content.